Okay, I believe we're live now, Kevin. So if you are watching, this is Christine Thompson, lead agent on the CT team, and I've got Kevin Napoleon with me. Kevin is with Key Mortgage Services, and I like to bring Kevin in once a week just for a quick 5 minutes or so to talk about anything that's come up in the last week that's on his mind that he would like to share with you. So Kevin, what's on your mind? What happened this week that you'd like to share with persons that's watching right now that might help them give a little bit of, knowledge or something to think about so they have more success when they're going to start looking into getting a loan?
Sure. Hello, Christine. The one thing I just came across this week, actually earlier this morning, was a buyer who wanted to get pre-approved, who was self-employed, very successful business owner, owns multiple businesses, in their mind had a 7-figure income. And as we started to engage and talk a little bit about what the lending requirements are for calculating someone's income, especially when they're self-employed, I basically had to tell them that we will look at what the IRS sees. And of course, like any good tax advisor, they're going to structure them accordingly to pay the least amount of income tax as possible. So the 7-figure income ultimately was dwindled down to about $65,000.
Oh my goodness. I want to know that tax accountant.
Yeah. So
long as
it
it's
was
all
a little
legal.
bit of a shock, but it took about a good hour of conversation to explain and reiterate what today's lending guidelines call for when someone is self-employed. So it's kind of been a long-standing guideline that when you own a business, essentially meaning you're 25% or more ownership of a company, you are going to fall into the category of being self-employed.
Oh, just 25% or more.
25% or more. So yeah, if you own 10% of a company, you're considered just an employee. So 25% or more, you fall into the category of being self-employed. And it's been maybe like the last 15 years or so, it's always been more difficult to qualify because of the tax laws. So of course you don't want to show much income because you don't want to pay tax. But when it comes to verifying income in our world, we're going to go off what the IRS sees. So when you dilute your income or zero it out so you don't pay any tax, we see zero income. So it's always been a longstanding challenge. And, it's a little bit of a culture shock for a lot of people that just assume they're a shoo-in to get not only a loan, but any loan they want. In some cases, we tell them you don't qualify, which is hard to comprehend. Now, there are some programs, and Christine, you may have heard of them, where they're kind of loosely referred to as a bank statement loan. That it's a program, it's not your regular industry program. So it's kind of a one-off, case by case, where someone who is self-employed that has legitimate cash flow, but on paper, it doesn't look that strong. We could look at their last 12 to 24 months of consecutive bank statements and try to pull some sort of an income trend based on money going in, money going out. But again, that's an atypical type of program, maybe a little bit higher rates, a little bit higher cost to do something like that. And they are all case by case. So it's an option, but not a program for everyone out there.
What's that program called when it's not asking for the tax returns, but looking at bank statements? Is there a name to that program for that type of lending?
We just call it bank statement loan.
Okay. Because I did have a listing where we sold it to a buyer that did that. They were self-employed. And the lender said it's a bank statement loan.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And it closed. They closed it quickly. So that turned out to be an option. I'm guessing they probably did that for the same reason. Their tax
that's the only
returns
reason,
were probably
because
massive.
it's not the best program out there. So you're going to have higher payments, higher closing costs to do that, because let's just face it, it's a riskier type of loan. So there's going to be a premium to be paid for that type of service. And it's harder to qualify for. So it's not just everyone walks in the door and gets this type of loan. And it really helps if you're organized. So someone that doesn't have good record keeping, that's going to be hard. Someone that does have good, their money flows in the same account every single month. They have access to PDF statements, for example, instead of a shoebox full of paperwork.
Yeah,
It'll be a lot easier that way. So, but that's just something that we're going to look at. And that's, the larger point is, if you own a business, if you're self-employed, make sure you talk to someone like me in advance of getting your hopes up on buying a property, because lending guidelines are a lot different for someone that is self-employed versus a regular W-2 employee that's salaried that works for a totally separate company.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, hopefully you can help this client that called you to get them under loan. Hopefully they're organized with their paperwork, and maybe they'll do that bank statement loan.
Yeah,
Never know.
that's the next conversation we started having. So we'll see in the next week or so what we end up doing.
Yeah, well, very interesting. I think that's a new one for a lot of people. They probably are not aware of that. And as you said, always, tread with caution too, make sure you understand that you're probably looking at higher rates, as Kevin said. But Kevin, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. We're going to get going here because you and I are very busy people. We got a lot of clients we're trying to get to. Can you provide your phone number and email address in case someone wants to get in touch with you?
Sure. Yeah. My phone number is area code 630-956-2648. My email address is kevin.napoleon@mykeymortgage.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate your time. Everyone, for those of you that are watching, you've got my information right here on the screen. You can just text that code, get a loan, at 630-931-0045. If you do that, Kevin will get in touch with you just to have at least an initial conversation. If you want to just find out all the ins and outs of what it takes for you to get a loan, he's happy to help you out. And you can even call or text me at that same number, and I'd be happy to take your call as well if you want to get some direction from a realtor regarding your next purchase or maybe selling a home. Thanks all for watching. We appreciate it, and we hope to hear from you. Have a great day and a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Take care. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Christine.
All right, bye-bye.